Welcome back. I am Zach. This is going to be a video on the reasons that I bought my Scout Kenai and the things I like about the camper. Forgive me if this video is a little bit all over the place. I just got 3 staples in the top of my head like 2 hours ago. I was about to install windows in the camper, was crawling underneath it, bonked the heck out of my head. So maybe a little bit all over the place, but I am not somebody who likes to rest. And the doctor said I couldn't do any more projecting today and I couldn't go work out again today. So figured I'd go through and do a video on why I bought my Scout, things I like about it. So to start, I wanted to give you a little bit of background on me and the way I look at things in terms of the construction of this. You may have seen some of my other videos. Maybe you thought I was a little harsh. And to backtrack, like, subscribe, hit the bell, share with your friends. But so I grew up working construction. I work in real estate. I am a pretty critical person. Whenever I walk into a building or a house, I'm always like, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. We need to fix this. I was looking at houses with a former partner, and eventually she was like, don't come to the things with me. You're just always negative. And that's just how I see things. That doesn't mean I don't like them. An example would be, I moved in when my parents would buy houses growing up. We always completely gutted them. We didn't move into anything as it was, and I would always work as the little runt for our contractors. And so like one of the kind of things that I learned super early that gives you an example of how detail focused I am is when you're installing a cover plate on a light switch, those little flathead screws, they need to be facing vertical, lined up with the light switch. You don't tighten them until they're at an angle. You don't tighten them until they're tight and it cracks. You make them vertical because that is aesthetically pleasing and is what looks right. So that gives you a little bit of background on where I'm coming from on this thing. So first, give you the reasons why I bought this. So I was looking for a truck camper that I could go 4-season camping with. I have 2 dogs. I wanted to be able to go to the beach, leave them in here, know they're comfortable and safe. I wanted to be able to go to the mountain, go skiing, leave them in here, know they're comfortable, safe, and warm. I also wanted to be comfortable myself. I also looked at a lot of campers. They have wood construction, flimsy metal, and I wanted something that was super sturdy. When I go camping, one of my focuses is to go places where nobody else is. And that means off-roading, washboard roads, all of those kind of things. And so I wanted something that was super hardy. And I also knew that because of my nature, I was going to modify whatever I got. The Scout is super simple, which meant it was going to be easier to modify. It's also very modular in terms of what it comes with. You can move and take things in and out of it. And so kind of those were some of the reasons why I settled on the Scout. Another reason why I settled on the Scout versus, people have said, why not go buy a Total Composites camper? Or, there are people who buy used campers and then they fix them up. Or I have friends who have vans. So vans, you have a van, then you just have a van that's, your camper. You can't really use that to haul things. I gotta make my phone quiet. We're doing one takes, but I'm gonna mute this. So, I just turned off my Wi-Fi. I didn't mute it. Forgive me. Like I said, like 2 hours from having 3 staples put in my head. There we go. So, where was I? Okay. So, you get a van, you have a van that is built out for living in. I don't want to have a single purpose thing. So this is a truck camper. So that means when I'm not using this, I have a truck. I can use my truck. Part of one of the things I love about this is how easy it is to take in and out of my truck. It takes me about 20 minutes if I'm really moving. And so for me, one, that just narrowed down vans are a no-go. Also, vans are not built to off-road. They are built to deliver packages. Trucks are made for farms. And so I have gone on trips with my friends who have Sprinter 4x4 with the factory lift and all that, and I am way far ahead of them when we get onto forest roads, gravel roads, because their rigs just are not meant for that. So that was kind of an immediate meant getting a truck camper, not getting a van. Then why did I settle specifically on a Scout? So a couple things. One is the shell. So it's no metal, not a metal construction, flimsy metal, I mean, not wood construction that's gonna rot. It is a composite shell with the foam core, which is awesome. That's why it is so hard that I walked into it and needed to get staples in my head earlier today. It also means that you can go on the top of the camper, which is awesome. I've had many nights where I've gone up on the roof with friends to look at the stars. Also means you can modify it and hard mount things like this aluminum ladder slash bike rack that I made. So for me, that made it way more specific in terms of I wanted a Scout. I didn't want another brand of camper. I also didn't want to get a used truck camper shell, which I know lots of people do, and then they modify, because you know, you might buy one of those for 3 to 10 grand, but then you need to do a bunch of work to modernize them and bring them up to snuff. And typically that's probably going to be an all cash type situation. With the Scout, you're buying it new, you can finance it, and with RVs, you can get 15-year money, which makes your payments super low. So for my Scout, I think my sticker was about 30 grand or so. I got mine, I think in May of 21. It's a Scout Kenai, and I think I put down 3,500 bucks, and I pay about 250 bucks a month or so on my payments. And my calculus was, if I stay in some bummy hotel 2 nights a month, that's the same cost as this when you don't count the down payment. And so for me, that made this a no-brainer. So that's kind of the base idea of why I chose a Scout Kenai. And then I'm gonna go through some of the things I like. So already mentioned the hardiness of the shell. You can go on the roof. I knew that I could modify it and add windows. So those are really big for me. Some of the other things that I like about it is fully self-contained. You have a solar panel, you have a battery bank, you have propane, you have a fridge. And so I like the idea that I could drive this to some piece of property someday and unload it. Maybe that's my little house for now, and then I take my truck into town, buy wood and materials, and maybe I build myself some sort of cool setup. I could drive it to Mexico, find a spot, leave it there, and then drive my truck into town. And so for me, the fact that it's self-contained, doesn't need to be attached to anything, was a big deal. I also like the fact that it is super simple. That was big for me. It means there are less things to break, and if they do break, it's easy to deal with. For example, I had my Goal Zero stolen, and I just got a new Goal Zero. You know, I was worried. There are people who have all sorts of really impressive but intense electrical systems, and it's like, what if you're in Nevada and your MMPT solar charger goes bad? Like, are you gonna get a new Victron in the middle of nowhere? No, but you could probably find an REI or a Home Depot that sells a similar battery bank that would get you by. I also like the fact that we're gonna go in here, that, you know, it's simple in terms of like the fridge, the lifesaver. There aren't a bunch of water lines. There isn't a crazy electrical system that I need to worry about. And also those things can go in and out. So if I wanted to go somewhere in my Range Rover off-roading, I could throw the Dometic and the Goal Zero in there and I'm good to go. I could bring my lifesaver with me. And so that modular aspect was really cool to me. I also like the fact that, you know, I feel like all camper RV construction is a little meh, and a lot of them that are really built out with cabinetry, it's like Home Depot Mickey Mouse cabinets, and I feel like those are really fragile. I thought those would break when off-roading, and I felt like what they did put in the Scout was sturdy and could hold up, but it also, you know, it's very much a like less is more kind of thing in my mind, I think. And then also, I wasn't gonna feel as bad doing what I'm doing now, where I tore it all apart. Because I was kind of like, I can tear this apart. I still have my main elements. I have my fridge, I have my water, I have my battery, I still have my heat. And so that was big for me, the modular aspect of it, the simplicity, less things to break, less things to repair. And then I will say the windows and the skylight are awesome. You know, the windows have the blackout shade with a little thermal protection and a screen for bugs. The way they open, awning style, so I live in the Pacific Northwest, you can have that out, rain's not going to get in. And then the skylight is an awesome way to access the roof. So those were some big things. I also love the Newport furnace. I don't think you can get that anymore. I think that is due to supply chain issues, but it is awesome to be able to come in from a cold Pacific Northwest day and have a real fire in a camper. Super cool. Love that feature. And then I think the other thing kind of mentioned briefly is the how easy it is to get in and out. So these Happy Jacks, I just hook up an M18 drill up and down, super easy. And then also this ratcheting system for attaching it to my truck. There's no crazy turnbuckles or anything like that. And so that was a really big thing for me. And then kind of last thing I would say is the Scout customer service, what have you. You know, I think they really do care about making sure people are happy with these. They want them to be kind of customized and made to people's liking, which is really big for me. And like an example of kind of how cool they are was I had my camper broken into. They broke in through the skylight. I made a post on Instagram, bummed the skylight was broken, didn't talk to Scout about it or anything. Like a week later, I got a call from Apache, my dealer, and they're like, hey, Scout sent us a window for you. They're covering the window. You just got to cover labor. Let us know when you want to come in. And so the fact that, you know, I had a bad day, somebody broke in my camper, somebody stole my battery, I didn't have to do anything. And I think this might be unusual, but it's still, so don't say, I'm not saying Scout will do this for everybody, but that was really, really above and beyond in terms of customer service. And then I would also say, you know, they, you know, you call them up, they pick up, they're here in America. And so I think that is also a great feature. So in summary, the hard shell is huge, the simplicity is huge, the components being able to go in and out, the Dometic, the Goal Zero, the Dickinson stove, and the fact that it is an independent unit, could be dropped wherever and left, the fact that it has the solar panel, and then I guess I don't think I really mentioned, but the fact that it was like, picked it up at the dealer, went to the grocery store, and went camping immediately. The fact that it is good to go right away was a big selling point for me. So those are some of the reasons why I like my Scout, why I bought it. Apologies if this video is a bit disconjointed. I mean, all of mine are probably a bit all over the place, but forgive me. Have just got 3 staples in the top of my head when I ran into this thing because I am clumsy. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Stay tuned. Hopefully putting the windows in here tomorrow and then doing a full build out. Peace. Have a good one.